Beautiful. So yeah, thank you all for being here. It's really exciting to have another NPC Day that we're doing. I've been asked to show this. There is some NPC Day POAP trivia. This is the QR code if that sounds interesting to you. I'll leave it up for a few seconds for anyone who wants it. But yeah, I was asked to make that announcement as well. So yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm Jaden. I'm on the Future Primitive team. You can see the whole Future Primitive team around the room because we all have these blue jackets on. And we spent the past year or so building token-bound accounts, working on ERC-6551, and trying to bring this vision of NFTs as more than just objects on-chain to life. And so I wanted to share a little bit about kind of the higher level why we think that's important, how we're solving it, and some of the neat things that are coming down the pipe in terms of how that's actually working on-chain today. So how many of you have one of these or owned one of these in the past? This is your feature phone, right? Everybody loved them early 2000s, and it was really useful, right? You could call your friends, you could text people, they had some features built in, you probably played Snake or had a calendar or a calculator, and overall it was just like landline plus plus. It was better than the landline, you could carry it with you, and it was great. But how many of you have one of these in your pocket right now? Any hands? No, nobody does. Most of you probably have one of these in your pocket, a smartphone. And you know, that just makes sense, right? Smartphones were a landmark improvement on feature phones. You had internet access, right? You could browse the internet, you could connect to all of the information that was out there. You had apps, right? Instead of just the features that the manufacturer defined, and maybe some weird third-party apps you had to kind of jankily sideload, you had this marketplace of new experiences, and anyone with an idea could build for a smartphone and make something they had in their head come to life in the hands of millions of people. And it was just a new way of interacting with these devices, right? Like this is a slab of glass and metal and silicon. But instead of touching a keypad and kind of using a landline interface, you had this new way of pinching and zooming and tapping and just new experiences that could be built on top of it. Now, if that's the past, and the present is everybody has a smartphone in their pocket, what does the future look like, right? I think we're starting to see a few glimpses of that. On the screen here, one of these is the Humane AI pin. You might have seen that. One is the Rabbit R1 AI device, and the other is ChatGPT's voice interface. And these are pretty cool. This is like a new way of interacting with the world around us. It's different from a smartphone. It's a device that can act on its own. You ask ChatGPT to give you information, and it just tells you. You ask your Humane pin to take a photo, and it just does. You ask your R1 to book you flights, and it somehow figures out how to do that. It adapts to its environment and figures out how to solve the problems on its own. And also, it's a new way of inputting data. Instead of typing and tapping and touching and swiping, you're inputting voice and ideas. It's just a new way of interacting with the world around us and interacting with the virtual world. And you can kind of see the tech tree progression here, right? We started with this object that had some utility, right? It made our lives better, it was just generally useful. And then we unlocked a crazy world of possibilities by making them programmable, by letting anyone write apps for a smartphone. And now we've got these agents, these new devices that instead of just us manually telling them what to do, they figure out how to do things on their own. They have agency. You might even call them NPCs. So how do NFTs fit into all of this, right? This is, we're working on token-bound accounts, and this is really abstract. We see NFTs as the objects of the internet, objects that are native to the internet. And NFTs are great, right? You can own them, you can transfer them. Those are the two things that are standardized in ERC 721. There's some utility, right? If you are creating NFTs, you can add extra features for the people who are using your NFTs. And they're just better than having your data in a centralized database like Facebook or Google's. But NFTs are in their feature phone era, right? There's some utility, they make our lives better, but it's still mostly just the creator who adds utility. Where's the programmability, right? How do you actually build compelling things with these internet objects? There's not that much that's standardized in the 721 standard, and most of the utility that exists for NFTs isn't composable across every NFT. There's no real language for building with NFTs. And what about agency, right? Like, these are right now just objects that sit in a wallet, but what does the world look like where these objects can act on their own and can do transactions? A year ago at ETH Denver, we launched ERC-6551 and token-bound accounts in an attempt to solve this problem and to give a universal language for building with NFTs to the Ethereum community. With ERC-6551, every NFT gets a wallet, a unique wallet address. That means that every NFT can now own any Ethereum asset, ETH, ERC20s, ERC1155s. The asset itself doesn't need to know anything about that it's being owned by an NFT because it's just owned by a wallet. By giving every NFT a wallet, we let NFTs participate in the Ethereum ecosystem as themselves. They can execute transactions and do anything you could do on Ethereum. Now, what about if we go back to the feature phone example? When I go from the US to Canada, for example, I just take my phone with me. And it's kind of a pain, right? I pay for some roaming charges, or I have to spend some time swapping out a SIM card. But generally, it just works. I just take my phone and I bring it with me. So what does it look like for NFTs today? You can do it, but it's a little bit of a pain. It costs a bunch of gas to transfer the NFT across chains, and now you're worrying about finality and the risk of your NFT being stored in a bridge. And now you're worried about NFT provenance because the original NFT that lived on its home chain, it's a different NFT you get on the destination chain. It's not the same asset. And so you have to figure out which chain is it currently on. And it's a lot more complex than just bringing my phone from Canada to the States or from the States to Canada. If your NFT is cross-chain native, which there's some really great standards for, your NFT is burned on its origin chain, and a clone of the NFT is minted on the destination chain. And so now you have to keep track of which chain is my NFT currently on. And if you're building applications with NFTs, this becomes really tedious, and a lot of this complexity gets exposed to your users. If you're using NFTs that don't have bridge integrations built in, it's even worse because you have to take your valuable prized NFT, this asset you own, and put it in a contract with everybody else's NFTs. And if that contract ever has a security issue, your NFT is gone. And all you're left with is this clone on the destination chain you can't redeem. Now, this is great, right? It's better to have a cross-chain NFT than not, but we can do better. And I think instead of moving your NFT from chain to chain, what if there was a different model, one that was natively tied to the NFT's identity, that meant that you could just use your NFT without having to move your NFT? What if you gave your NFT a wallet? What if it had this identity that just worked in Ethereum anywhere you expect it to work? That's what we've done with ERC6551. The wallet your NFT gets is the same address on every chain you want to interact with. Whether you want to trade tokens on Base and have your mainnet noun collect bald tokens, or you want to post on Lens and have a Lens handle, your NFT can be active anywhere in Ethereum through the mechanism of its token-bound account. And if you're building applications, you can receive calls from token-bound accounts and know exactly which NFT is using your application and know for sure that that NFT's ownership and authenticity have been verified already before the call hits your application. So there's no extra complexity for your users. Now, we've been working on this for a little while, and right now what we have is we've got Ethereum to Polygon and Ethereum to OP-Stack. If you go to the token-bound site, you can use those today. But that's pretty limited, right? There's a huge and burgeoning world of L2s happening. Seems like there's a new chain launching every week. So what does it take to take NFTs and token-bound accounts and make them work across every chain? Like right now, if you wanted to go from Polygon to mainnet, it just doesn't work, right? It can work, there's the potential there, but right now it's not hooked up. So we're really excited to announce that we're partnering with Layer 0 to make this happen right now. So in the coming days and weeks, we're going to be launching an integration that allows you to use that token-bound account, that unlocks that token-bound account address you have on every chain for your NFT. So no matter which chain your NFT lives on, and no matter which chain you want to transact on, you can just do it. It's taken care of out of the box. You connect with Wallet Connect, you use the token-bound SDK, and it just works. You pass in a chain ID. Other than that, your development flow is exactly the same. And this is really cool. This allows us to connect your NFT to any chain you want to, and it opens up the whole world of Ethereum to your NFT. Now, I'm going to do a quick demo. TBD if this actually works, so I've got a video backup, but give me a sec. All right. So this is a token-bound account that I own. This is a CryptoKitty. This NFT exists on mainnet, and it's a really old NFT, right? This NFT was around before there was cross-chain, before there were TBAs, but because of the way token-bound accounts work, this NFT has a token-bound account. You can see the address right here, and you can see that this address, if I switch to, actually, no, I'm already on Polygon. You can see that this token-bound account owns a Lens handle on Polygon, and that means that this token-bound account is able to interact as a wallet with any protocol. It can interact with Lens as a protocol itself. So if I go over to hey.xyz, which is the Lens UI, for example, and I go to login, I'll just change my wallet real quick so we get the end-to-end demo. I can log in with Wallet Connect via my token-bound account. So there we go. Now I'm connected to Hey. I just logged in to a dApp that has no idea about token bound accounts via my NFT. So my NFT is using this dApp as a user. And if I hit login, it's going to prompt me to sign a message from the wallet that owns this NFT. And it's just as seamless as if I was normally using a wallet. I don't need to know anything additional about token bound accounts. It's just a normal transaction pop-up. So I hit sign, and it's going to let me log in. So now I'm logged in as TestKitty. You can see I've got my lens profile set up in the top corner here at TestKitty. And if I want to make a post, I can say, hello, NPC Day Denver. And I hit post. And like you would expect in any application, it just works, right? My NFT is a wallet, and that wallet just works with any Ethereum application. And because it's enabled cross-chain, it's not just mainnet applications my CryptoKitty can interact with. It's also any chain. And Layer 0 is what we're using to make that possible now. So your token bound account can now work across all chains. We'll be rolling this out to a bunch of chains in the coming days and weeks, so expect some announcements and some documentation for that. But we're not done yet. Right now, when you use your token bound account and you want to do a cross-chain transaction, all the calls come from the origin chain. And so you send your transactions on mainnet, and then they get executed on the token bound account on the destination chain. And it works for any chain, right? Polygon to Blast. You can go Base to Arbitrum. Anywhere you want to go, chain to chain, wherever your NFT lives, it can live. But there's still a couple of drawbacks to the approach we're currently using. First, we're manually managing a whitelist of bridges that are trusted by the token bound account. That's a point of centralization we want to remove. Secondly, transaction signing is still pretty manual. When you go and use your token bound account, like you saw, I popped up 2 transaction prompts in my execution with hey.xyz. And that's okay, right? That's part of having a wallet. But if we're going to build truly agentic NFTs, truly NPCs that can act on their own, transaction prompts aren't going to cut it. And also, right now we only support ERC 721 NFTs as the basis for token bound accounts. So we're working on a couple of things in a version 4 of token bound accounts that are really, really cool. The first is a native integration with the bridging layer. And this will allow you as an NFT holder, instead of relying on us to be the arbiter of which bridge is trusted by your wallet, you'll be able to choose your own message passing provider, choose your own validator network, choose your own way of passing messages from chain A to chain B, which is fully decentralized. We don't control it. You get to choose how you want to do that, which is pretty cool. The other thing we're working on for V4 is to enable this agent use case. So right now, if I wanted to have an agent that knew how to mint Zora NFTs, and I could say, hey, could you go mint me like the top-selling Zora NFTs of this week, and just let it go do its thing, it would come back and say, great, sign like 5 transactions for me, and I can go do the thing you just asked me to do, which is a pretty big difference in experience from something like Humane or something like the Rabbit R1 or any of these kind of agent-type, NPC-type experiences. And so we're introducing something that'll be a pretty big step forward for token bound accounts, we think, and unlocks a couple of key things. We're calling them auth extensions. And what these are ways for you as a token bound account owner or the creator of an NFT to specify some additional logic that determines who can use the token bound account. So you can say, hey, I'm the owner of this NFT. I want to give permission to the Zora Minter NPC to be able to mint Zora Open Editions on my behalf. When I add that auth extension, the experience goes from me having to sign a bunch of transactions to me just saying, hey, go do this thing. The NPC has permission to do the thing and execute those transactions on my behalf. I never see a transaction pop up, and then it comes back and say, hey, we did all this, and we spent $20 out of the gas that was already in your token bound account. That's a pretty big difference in experience in terms of building NPCs. And importantly, these are enabled not just by the owner of the NFT, but the NFT creator can also enable them. So if you want to do a really cool experience with your NFTs where your NFTs are NPCs by default, you can add this as a default experience for those who are using your token bound account. Now, of course, it's all self-custodial, so if you own an NFT and you don't trust the NFT creator, you can disable that. But this will be a pretty big upgrade in terms of people being able to add extra logic to how your token bound account works. The other thing that this enables, which is still pretty experimental, is it's not just NFTs that can back token bound accounts anymore. You can write an auth extension that knows how to interpret ERC 1155 tokens, or ERC 20 tokens, or tokens that are specific to your protocol, or new token standards that come down the pipe. You can support those token standards with token bound accounts as well. Now, not everything fits well into the paradigm of token bound accounts if it's not NFTs, right? What does it look like to have an ERC 20 token as the owner of a token-bound account, right? Is it like the person who owns the whole balance, person who owns 50% of the balance, some other way, some voting mechanism? The important thing is you can choose how you want that to work. If you're building with TBAs, you can customize it so that you have a token-bound account that's backed by Uni tokens and determines how it translates the ownership of a Uni token into permissions on the token-bound account. We think this is going to be really cool. We're really excited to roll it out. Whoops. There we go. So to put it in summary, NFTs are great on-chain objects. That was a solved problem in 2017. And we found some really good use cases, right? Token gating is a great example of a use case for NFT ownership. That's pretty much a solved problem. With token-bound accounts, and especially with cross-chain token-bound accounts, we're starting to have a solid solution to the NFT identity and utility layer, a common way for you to build applications for NFTs without needing to manually interact with the complexities of NFTs themselves. You can just use token-bound accounts as the language for NFT utility. And finally, with auth extensions and the ability to have on-chain automation, we're solving the NFTs as agents or the NFTs as NPCs problem, where you can now interact with a token that you own that's a valuable asset, but has its own way of being, its own way of acting on-chain, without you having to manually specify how that works. So we're really excited for this. We're really excited to see what people build, and we're really excited for all the sweet demos we're going to see today of people who are building in the same area towards this future of NFTs as NPCs. So thanks all for coming. We've got a great day set up. We're looking forward to it.
Future Primitive